If you're someone in New World that, like me, does tend to salvage things a little bit trigger happy and tends to get a little bit carried away with getting rid of some of these items that actually might turn out to be pretty good, then today's video is going to be exactly for you. I'm going to be showing you guys the items that you should be keeping that you need to not salvage ahead of the Mutations update coming to New World towards the end of January here. Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Invin, and of course what we're going to be going over today is some of the most crucial items and some of the most sought after items that are currently available and that are going to make a big impact once this mutation update does come out. Now, if you are new to the channel, please do make sure that you're dropping a subscribe to the channel down below. We're pushing very, very close to that 13,000 subscribers, and I would love to have you guys here as part of my channel community. So if you can subscribe down below and help me out, that would be much, much appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump into this one. So, of course, I'm going to be talking about some sets of items, and the first thing here is, of course, going to be your gathering / refining gear, that sort of thing. So, like you might see here, this skinning helmet. Now, the reason these are going to be good is because, of course, everybody's going to be doing the Trade Skill Aptitude containers the same, so they're going to be pretty high. Right now, these are quite expensive on my server. Obviously, these will change prices depending on your server. But if you can get your hands on some of these through drops, then these are going to be really, really valuable, as the rumour is that when this update comes out, we could be seeing some new materials into the game, or if it's not this update, the one afterwards. So either way there, you're going to be wanting to gather, and as a lot of you guys will know, one of the main things that you need to be doing is crafting these high-end legendary weapons if you can. Obviously, the roll is 595 to 600 when you're completely maxed, which means that getting a lot of materials in order to get up there, whether it's through skinning or whether it's through stuff like the mining set here, which will allow you to then craft things like your Asmodium, your runic leather, all of that good stuff, which you guys will see in my inventory, such as these two right here. As you can see, I've got a bit of a stockpile of runic leather. I'm on 76, and this is from the daily crafts that I've been doing. But Asmodium, I'm only on 10, and that is because I've got my weaponsmithing to 200. I keep trying to roll myself better and better great axes and warhammers and such to be able to either sell them that are good or indeed get a best in slot one for myself. And this is going to be very much the case going forward, especially when the new update drops and you do get that 625 umbral system unlocked where players can progress weapons. A lot of players, if you're anything like me, will probably do something like this axe right now. Pretty good axe, keen and plagued crits. I'll probably get that up to 600 at least, and then maybe take it to 625 or maybe 610 at the very minimum, just to get a little bit of progress there until I can manage to get myself a best in slot legendary. And if I can get a really, really good legendary, I'll then start leveling that one instead. So having gathering gear, or at least keeping hold of any gathering gear you get, even if you don't want to use it yourself, is going to be valuable because people are going to be grinding more and more to get these best or better at least items to be able to progress with the brand new umbral system when it drops. Now, on the same strain as this, you've got your accumulation gear. This one allows you to actually get more daily rolls on things such as your leatherworking, so your runic leather, your phoenix weave, and your glitter and ebony. Right now, there is not a smelter set in the game. Whether this comes in the future, I'm not sure, but I will keep you guys updated. If we do get an announcement of that or somebody finds it in the game, then I'll bring you an update on that one. But as of right now, you can get it for the other 3 dailies, which is really, really good. And of course, that does mean that you can potentially get 1 or 2 or maybe even 3, if you're very lucky, additional ones per day. I know some people in the comment section below of previous videos have said they've got upwards of 4 and 5 extras in one go of crafting, which is absolutely insane. So it is really, really worth it. Some of the pieces are a lot more expensive, but some of them are reasonably priced, so if you can get your hands on them for a reasonable price, or you can indeed get these as drops. Again, these are going to be super good. Particularly what I'm looking at here are the Weaver's Shoes. I got these as a drop from the Imperial Palace literally earlier today, and these are a blue item. They're tier 5, but they're blue, and so many people will probably just salvage them thinking it's a bad pair of boots. But do be aware, these on my server right now are around about 10,000, as it's not the most common drop from the boss that it does drop from in Imperial Palace. So if you do manage to get your hands on something like this, not only can you use it, but if you've already got the set, say for example I get a second pair, I can actually make a good bit of money off these. And these really should only increase in price once this update drops again, as I say, people will be grinding for those extra materials to get those better items and hopefully try and push some of those legendaries out, particularly when you get your expertise up to 600 and unlock that umbral system upgrades. Now, the next thing that we're going to be looking at here is weapons such as right here, you guys can see on the screen, my Arboreal Primeval Great Axe of the Monk. A little bit of a mouthful. Essentially, it's a corrupted Bane axe, great axe. which has an arboreal gem on. Now, nature damage is okay. It does plus 15%. It would be better with an arcane gem that does do plus 30%. So obviously, with it having the corruption damage as well, it makes it quite good. But as I say, arcane would be better there. But anything where you've got corruption bane is going to be really, really good, because of course you've got Dynasty Shipyard, which is a mutated dungeon. That's going to be very, very popular if you can get a dex weapon, as that does do additional damage to corrupted mobs as well. So a bow or a spear, specifically the spear is really, really good for melee DPS in mutated dungeons. If you are able to get one of those with a corrupted bane on and an arcane gem, then you're looking really good, but just the corrupted bane is also really, really good. Also, if we look over to Reekwater and look at Lazarus Instrumentality, you will know that the mobs in here are the skeletons or the ancients. So in order to get that, again, ancient bane would be really, really good. If you do manage to get any drops, make sure you don't salvage those. And then finally, moving on to Garden of Genesis, of course, that one is Angry Earth. So again, any Angry Earth Bane weapons are going to be really good. Now, additionally, with Genesis, it's worth looking out for fire gems, as they do additional damage to Angry Earth mobs and slash damage as well. So for example, I use the Dark Sky, which is this weapon right here. It's a great axe with slash damage. I also have then a fire gem on it too, so it does pretty good amounts of damage there. And it's also got the enchanted perk on, so it's really nice for expeditions. Also, if you're looking at the Lazarus Instrumentality, you're going to want to use something like this right here. This is a Warhammer. Strike damage does extra damage to those mobs, as well as lightning damage. So if you've got any Topaz gems, again, with an Ancient Bane weapon would be absolutely incredible. But do bear in mind that slash damage is resisted by Ancients, so you can't use the same weapon for multiple things. So if you do see a Great Axe with Ancient Bane on, maybe think twice before buying that one. Just to give you guys a rough idea, if you go into the trading post and click on perks selected, and then choose yourself something like, let's say, Ancient Bane right here, you can click into this one, click off it, and it will show you all of the items. You can then sort it by gear score, so you get highest to lowest. And as you can see, these weapons right here are selling for about 4,500 for a Fire Staff with Ancient Bane on. And that's also a really good one because it's got Vicious, but it has got Strength stat on, so it's quite expensive for what it is. Then you've got something 24,000 here with a 30 Strength on. It has got Life Stealing and Enchanted, but it is a slash damage weapon with fire. So a lot of players might not realize that and think 24k is good because of the perks. It's really not that good. With a fire gem on and slash damage, you're not going to want to buy it. However, something like this Warhammer right here, which has got Plagued crits, Ancient Bane hated, is not really great, but it has got an empty gem slot, so you could put a Topaz gem on. This would be perfect for fighting the Ancients, so do make sure you check an eye on what other perks they have got going. And as you can see, a lot of these are quite expensive, so if you do manage to pick any up, even if they're not legendary, just epics, from drops from going around expeditions or going around elite zones, etc. Make sure you keep hold of them, and if you do manage to craft any of them, again, keep hold of those because they are going to sell for a good amount, or you're going to want to use them. Now, kind of on a similar strain to this, you want to be looking also for the ward type armor. So as you can see here, I have searched for Angry Earth Ward. This one gives me plus 4.8% damage absorption versus Angry Earth mobs. Again, you can have a look here on the menu and you can see that there is an Ancient Ward as well, so I could get rid of the Angry Earth one and look for Ancient Ward, see if there's any pieces on there. Again, you can see the expense of these is going to get pretty high and will only get higher once these mutations come out. And then, of course, the other one that we're going to want to be looking for here is Corrupted Ward for Dynasty Shipyard. So as you can see, that one is right here. And again, there is some very expensive gear, but also some very cheap gear because people haven't caught onto this one as much, or because the invasions have been out for a while. Maybe there's some cheaper gear going around. People have generally got what they want for that. So it is worth having a look at. And for those higher level mutations, having this sort of little almost min-maxing nuancey type stuff is going to be really, really beneficial, because once you do get into these mutations, you guys are going to see these are actually really, really difficult. Even +1 for those of you that haven't played the PTR. These are actually pretty gnarly, so you are going to want to have all the help you can get. So getting your hands on a nice set of gear. Again, if you get any of these drops, do not salvage them. Make sure you keep them. And again, if you craft any of them, again, don't salvage them. Keep hold of them. They are going to be either useful to you or you'll be able to sell them for a good amount of money. Now, another thing to point out here is, of course, things like Void Protection, which is where you take 2 to 4.7% less Void damage. And just at the side of my camera here, you'll just be able to see this one, void damage, and this is where you deal 3 to 4.8% more void damage. Now, the reason these are going to be really, really good is because, of course, in the specific mutations that do come out, we've got the 4 different variant elements they can be. So, of course, you can have fire, ice, nature, or void mutations on these expeditions. So having the protection or the damage buff for one of those is going to be really, really good. So again, I wouldn't recommend buying these necessarily because they could set you back a fair bit of money, and they're only going to be useful maybe for 1 week out of 4, 5, 6 weeks or whatever. But one thing that is going to be really, really important is getting your hands on something like the Void Damage perk here. Now, if we just go into the list and show you guys what we've got availability-wise, you can see here, this is a pretty good one. Hearty, Void Damage, and Infected. Dexterity, Constitution. If you're using the bow with Poison Shot, this is a really, really good one. But with Void Damage, you might think, well, why would you use that with the bow? Well, in the new expeditions and the new mutated expeditions specifically, when they are mutated to the element, so say, for example, Void in this case, you have a chance to get a drop of the craft mod, which allows you to get a plus 15% void damage every 2 seconds on all attacks. Now, of course, this is going to be super, super good, and you can get this for each respective element. So, of course, your fire, ice, nature, and void. And with this, what you'll be able to do is stack up a lot of extra damage on that weapon whenever you're attacking with it. A 2-second cooldown is pretty slim. Now, the chances of this getting changed, the specifics of it could change before this releases, but either way, you're going to get a damage buff to specific types of damage for plus 15% weapon damage every 2 seconds to that element, which is a lot of damage, pretty much. So, essentially, if you get one of these that has void damage on, you deal 4.8% more. It's going to be 15% with the 4.8% more as well. So that 15% will go into maybe 16, 17% extra. And if you've got this on 1 or 2 pieces at least, it's going to give you an even further damage buff, which is really, really cool. And of course, will make damage go up a huge amount in PvE. Obviously, PvP, you will want to make sure that you know that there is the new aversion perks coming out as well, respective of each element that the mutations can be in. And these do stack up. They're 4% individually, but if you've got it on all of your pieces, you can have up to a 20% resistance, which is what I talked about in previous videos, saying mages watch out because, of course, you know, you're going to see a big damage spike reduction to all 4 of those elements, particularly fire and ice for mages, but nature for healers. And, of course, void gauntlet users, you got that void damage reduction as well. So that could be something that we do see become best in slot pretty quickly. So do bear that in mind. But certainly in PvE, this is going to be really, really good. And also in some PvP situations where the enemies don't have this aversion yet equipped, or don't have the full equipped set, or they split it up or whatever, you could be able to do a big amount of damage with these new achievement perks or craft mods. Now, although you do have to be careful with that, I do want to give another little mention. This is a big shout out to Filmir from my company on New World. This is a really good suggestion. Things like getting yourself a chain void on top of the damage increase. So say, for example, the hammer right here, the Yulkathir, has got chain void on. This one on top of the increased 15% damage with the attunement perk. And then if you had a piece of jewelry or armor or whatever with plus void damage on, you could be seeing quite a big bounce chain effect of big amounts of damage coming out, and that is also on a 2-second cooldown, the same as the attunement perk is. So if you manage to get chain, void, and the void attunement on the same weapon, you could be looking pretty good. So right now, I wouldn't be looking specifically for the drops with chain void on, because you'll probably want to get that and the attunement, or same for fire, ice, or nature on the same weapon if you possibly can. But what I would be looking out for, and you know, for crafting and for drops from mobs, is to see whether you get any of those void, ice, fire, or nature damage increases. Keep hold of them in case you want to use them in your sets, or again, you'll probably be able to sell these for a decent amount of money, so make sure you don't salvage them. So guys, that is going to be pretty much it for today's video. If there is anything that I have not mentioned in this video that you think is going to be super useful when this Mutations update does come to us towards the end of January, please do leave it in the comments down below. Let's share the wealth of knowledge between us, and hopefully we can all get ahead of the game here. Either make some good money or make some good steals on the trading post right now that are going to really benefit us when this update does drop, which I'm super excited for. I would like to thank you all for watching. As always, like I said at the beginning of the video, if you haven't done so already, please do make sure that you subscribe to the channel. We're getting itchingly close to 13,000 subscribers. If you guys could help support me and get there, that would be absolutely amazing. And if you have enjoyed this video, found it useful, please do drop me a like on it down below, as that really does help to support me and my content here on YouTube as well. If you do want to get involved with some of the live action fun over on Twitch, my Twitch link is in the description as well. I'd love for you guys to come and join in over there. It's always a good laugh when we do a stream there. We test a load of things, we do some expeditions, we do some PvP, we do wars, all types of good stuff, and it's a lot of fun, so I'd love to see some of you over there as well. And other than that, guys, as always, thank you very much for watching, thank you for your time, and I will catch you again tomorrow with another upload. Take care, guys, and peace.